Don't make these common mistakes when you're buying a home in Atlanta. One of the first mistakes that we regularly see people doing when they're moving here to Atlanta from other states is completely ruling out homes in an HOA. HOAs are super common here in Atlanta. I would say somewhere around 75 to 90% of the homes are part of an HOA. And so to rule out houses that have HOAs, you would really be limiting yourself to a very small percentage of the homes. And in a housing market that already has low inventory, a small amount of homes for sale, you really need to make sure that you are considering houses that are in an HOA. The problem is that in other states, there seem to be issues with HOAs. Like a lot of y'all call me from places like California or Florida, Texas, New York, and you tell me about the HOAs that you have there and how like super caring they are. That's not really what the HOAs are like here in Metro Atlanta. They're not trying to like take your house from you or file liens against you and your the ownership of the house. That's not really what the HOAs do here. For the most part, they're just trying to collect the money to maintain the pool and the clubhouse areas and the tennis courts. Yes, they do want the residents to follow the rules and like make sure that you get some things approved, but they're not trying to be difficult. They're just trying to make sure that people aren't like putting up neon signs in their front yard or doing something crazy that would devalue the homes in the rest of the neighborhood. For the most part, they're just trying to protect all of the residents. And again, one of the biggest factors for these HOAs is making sure that people pay for the common areas of the HOA. That's really one of the main reasons why these HOAs exist. They're not trying to be difficult and they are mostly helpful for the residents. So you want to make sure that you include homes in an HOA when you're moving to Atlanta. Another big one that we see a lot of folks doing is not calculating the closing costs associated with buying a home here. If you're thinking about moving to Atlanta and you want to know more about closing costs, feel free to call, text, or email me anytime. I'm happy to help with your moving needs to Atlanta. We have people calling us all the time, every day, and it really is our favorite thing to help people make the move to Atlanta. But closing costs is definitely something that you need to think about when purchasing a home here. Now, for the most part, closing costs will come from your lender. That's really what the majority of closing costs are made up of. They're made up of the costs to close the loan. So every lender has a different price or a different pricing structure for closing costs. And when you get a pre-approval from your lender, that pre-approval should come with a breakdown of the closing costs. Now, if you get a pre-approval from your lender and there are no closing costs associated with that, like an estimate sheet or like a interest rate estimate, that's probably not the kind of lender that you want to work with. All of these things should be told to you up front so that you have all the information that you could need to make a decision about which lender to go with. Again, your pre-approval should have a breakdown of the estimates of the closing costs. Number 3 on the list of mistakes to avoid when buying a home here in Atlanta is starting your home search too late. So for example, sometimes someone will call me and they say something like, our lease expires in a month and we're wanting to get moved into a home here in Atlanta. Well, the home process in general takes about 2 to 3 months. So to have a lease expire in 1 month could mean that you'd be in a difficult situation. Either you'd have to hurry or you'd have to kind of find alternate place to live once your lease is over, because in general, it's going to take about 2 to 3 months. Usually that first month or two is just looking at homes in person, submitting offers. It's very rare for your first offer on a home to be accepted, especially if you're looking during the spring where there's more competition, and it's like a move-in ready home where a lot of people want to buy that home. Sometimes it takes making a few offers before you finally get your offer accepted. And then finally, that last 30 days or so is just the whole contract period, doing the inspection and doing an appraisal, and a lender going through all of your documents, and the closing attorney making sure that they can transfer the title to you. And so, all in all, this takes a while, like 2 to 3 months. And then another thing to think about is that the school year typically starts in like the beginning of August. In fact, the first day of school for Cobb County schools in 2024 is Thursday, August 1st, which I know just sounds crazy. I could have swore when we were kids and we had summer break, like August was like all of summer. Like we didn't really start school until September, but these school years are just moving to start earlier and earlier. And so if you're trying to be in your new home by the beginning of the school year, you need to start well before August so that you can be ready for that August 1st start date for the school year. And then number 4 on the list is looking for ranch style homes only. I know this is very common in other parts of the country, but here in Georgia, it's not so common to have ranch style homes, especially built in the last 10 to 20 years. It's very rare to have one-story homes here in Georgia. Usually when we do have ranch style homes, they're like from the 70s or 80s, but in a city like Alpharetta or Marietta or Swanee, built anywhere in the 2000s, we just don't have very many ranch style homes. Now, if what you're looking for is to be able to live in a home that doesn't have a lot of steps, we do have plenty of homes that have the primary bedroom on the main level. So this would mean you wouldn't have to deal with the stairs, but you would have like a 2-story home, which is far more common here in Metro Atlanta. And then number 5 on the list of mistakes to avoid when you're buying a home in Atlanta is not making sure that you do a super thorough inspection on basements here. I've said this plenty of times before. Construction codes and construction practices here in Georgia are not quite the same as they are in other parts of the country. We don't have natural disasters. Labor costs less here in Georgia. There are probably some other factors too, but all of these things together mean that the construction practices are not the same. And so when you're building a home that has a basement, the way that you build a basement area is different than an area that's above ground. And here in Georgia, they haven't always done a great job of building living spaces below grade. If you're thinking about buying a home that has a basement, I strongly suggest having like a basement expert or some kind of foundation expert look at the home in addition to the home inspection. There are certainly a lot of benefits to having a basement, that extra living space, that kind of living space where you can turn into a large living room or game room, but there are also some downsides to owning a basement here in Georgia. So thoroughly inspecting a basement is super important here in Metro Atlanta. And then number 6 on the list is having the wrong strategy when trying to buy a home. Let me explain. We really just have, for the most part, 2 different strategies when you're buying a home here in Metro Atlanta. Either you're going for the homes that are brand new to the market, that are move-in ready, that are getting the most amount of attention. Lots of people want to buy that move-in ready home, or you're going for a home that's been on the market for 30, 45, 60 days, and you're trying to get a deal. These homes that have been on the market for a while don't have as many people bidding on those homes. They're not getting offers all the time because they're still on the market. So these homes are the ones that you can get below list price. Now, what I mean by using the wrong strategy is like trying to buy a home that is brand new to the market, move-in ready, where everybody is making offer, and you try to make lowball offers on those listings. That would never work here in Metro Atlanta because they have so many people making offers on those homes. On the flip side, it's far easier to make lowball offers or get a deal on a home here in Metro Atlanta on a house that's been on the market for 30 days or more. Especially when it comes to investment properties, it's that 30-day mark that you're looking for. Anything more than 30 days, it's far easier to get a good deal on a home. But again, you want to make sure that if you're looking for homes that are move-in ready only, you don't want to be looking at homes that are 30 days or more. Those houses are typically not move-in ready. It's usually the houses that have only been on the market for 7 days or less that are really the move-in ready perfect houses that everybody is looking for. And then number 7 on the list is buying a house that has one of the worst house killers that really just destroys houses every year here in Metro Atlanta. It's on the news like weekly, especially during the wintertime. And that's houses that have pine trees too close. Yes, pine trees are regularly in the news for falling over on people's houses because they grow so tall and they don't have quite as long of a lifespan as some of the other trees like a hickory tree or an oak tree. And we have tons of pine trees here in Metro Atlanta. So you want to make sure to not buy a house that has too many pine trees. Now, bonus tip, don't leave yet. We need to talk about one more thing. Another mistake that we often see people making is not calculating the cost of living here. We all know that the cost of living is increasing, but mortgages are increasing, home prices are also increasing. And so I've made a full video of a breakdown of what you can expect for monthly expenses here in Metro Atlanta, including utilities, gas, and groceries. You can check it out right here. I'll see you there.